that kind of brings us on to City, because I got a little trigger this morning on your behalf, really, LB. I've seen journalists and I'm seeing rivals absolutely kicking off because you've signed Silva. Sorry, not Silva. Savio. Sorry, Silva. Why Silva popped into my head? And people are essentially saying that this is part of the City corruption. The multi-club plan you've got in place means you can get these players at a cheaper rate. His parent club is not making any money out of him. He's never even played for his parent club. It's all a big cheating conspiracy from Manchester City. It must be pretty frustrating being a City fan, operating in a way in a successful way, but everything being looked at as a stain on football.
These people are just muppets, man. Honestly, these people are just muppets. Listen, City have got obviously this group, and you know, clubs can decline, don't have to be involved in the group if they don't want. Like there was a team in, I think, the Netherlands or somewhere in Europe, where the fans, City agreed a deal. The fans protested. The fans didn't want to be part of the group, and the deal decided not to go ahead because the fans didn't want it. No problem. Girona, obviously we don't own all of Girona. Girona, we only own 45%. Savio, who actually plays for a French club who's part of the group, he's there on loan. These teams obviously did want to be part of the group, and you know, therefore, if you come into the group, you get the benefits of being in the group. You get access to a worldwide network of some of the best scouts. You get access to some of the best football brains in the world. You're seeing what Girona are doing now, obviously with this new manager, Mitchell, I think he's called, who's absolutely slamming it there. Some of the players there, they're doing a fantastic job, and they benefit. And obviously City will benefit because then City get access to some players, and obviously we can do deals because they're part of the group. So all clubs should be looking at doing this. Barcelona were going to do it, but they wouldn't let the Soriano. When Soriano was at Barcelona, Soriano wanted to do this with Barcelona, but the Barcelona executives didn't believe it would work. Well, obviously it does work. This is what other clubs are going to try and do it. So fantastic deal. I'm excited about the transfer. He's a good player. I've seen him a couple of times, and yeah, looking forward to seeing how he gets on. He can put a mean cross into the penalty area. He's only young. He's only 19 years old. Turns 20 in April. So he'll come in with pretty low expectations, I'd imagine, because you know he's so young. But it's a fantastic deal. Fantastic deal for City. Anyone moaning about anything wrong with it? I mean, what are you talking about, bro? It's a legit transfer. We're buying in. We're paying money, real money. You know what I mean? So what's the problem? People just want to moan at anything my club does, and I find it hilarious. It doesn't rattle me anymore, man. I find it hilarious how people are that rattled that anything we do, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Even last night, man, people was blaming the referee for the way we won the game. What are you talking about? People are so rattled about my club. It's actually wild. Yeah. So listen, I'm buzzing with the transfer. It's come out of nowhere, really. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, the comment here, and I read this. This was from an athletic journalist who said a classic bit of multi-club nimble footwork. This, and then he says Savio was signed by City groups. I want to pronounce the name right. Is it Terrace?
It's like Trois, I think it is.
Okay, Trois. Their record signing, in fact, but has never played for them. Loaned immediately to City Group's Girona, and is now being sold to City Group's Manchester City. Now he doesn't in the tweet state that it's cheating, or that it's wrong, or that it's unethical. But again, we're not in a court of law. We can all read exactly what Nick Miller is implying. And I agree with you, LB. I sort of look at this as, well, my club have just been bought by partly bought by Ineos, who have Nice. So we're already part of the multi-club situation just within that purchase. And I want us to follow suit. It's a great way of raising money. It's, you know, clubs used to have feeder clubs back in the day. Man United used to have first access and preferential rates on players at the club like Sporting Lisbon. We're able to loan players out to places like Antwerp with relative ease, as an example. These things have existed in football for a long time, ever before City did them. Now, I understand the 115 charges exist, but none of the charges are related to having a multi-club network. So I do, listen, loads of people are out there accusing City of cheating, saying it's unethical. But for me, it is a lot of sour grapes in relation to this, because they've seen how good this young player is at Girona this year. And I think they knew in their heart of hearts he was going to go to Man City because of the connection. It's the same as I look at Todibo, who's currently at Nice. I believe he's going to end up at Manchester United if he really is as good. Now, this is what I'm saying to Man United fans. Don't be throwing big, fat stones in a glass house. because come the summer, because you're spouting off about City's situation with this player, you're just going to get it in reverse. So keep your damn powder dry. Like, I don't know. For me, I just look at it as this here is a complete nothing burger other than excellent work from City. I don't know about you, Dan. Like, this just feels like sour grapes to me.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? I don't get it. They've signed someone. People are reacting as if they've just signed the next Lionel Messi. I've never heard of this geezer. And apparently, it's all like, uproar. This is so that, and there's other teams that have got feeder clubs and parent clubs. That's how it works. That's what football is now. Yeah, it's just the way it is. And I don't know why this whole cheating thing is coming every time Man City do something. Let's just actually work this out. We've gone through here before. We've been through this story about what we want to see happen is the truth come out and then it be dealt with. I don't think that's got anything to do with Man City signing Savio. Apparently, he's been brilliant in the Liga, been the best left winger this year. You can talk about that if you want. Great stuff. I'm sure it'll be a great signing for Pep, and I'm sure he'll make it work. But I don't look at it and go, Man City cheating. I think a lot of football teams are extremely jealous of Manchester City in terms of what they've won, what they've achieved, how much they can afford to spend, and the money that they have. I think that's just facts. What I will say, though, and LB says it don't rattle him, I believe I know LB well. There's a lot of City fans that actually do let it get to them, though. Listen, if I was a Man City fan, I'd just be laughing at people. I wouldn't. There's so many Man City fans that I see online that react to this. It's like, you're here because of money. I'd be like, yep, that's absolutely right. And we're winning everything. But some Man City fans are like, no, hang on, we deserve to be here. We deserve to be winning all this stuff. So, man, don't let them do that. Just laugh at them. They are jealous.
Yeah.
Of
you know what's funny, Dad? I had a stream this morning on my channel, and I said the same thing. I said, when people get rattled about it, and start saying stuff like that, just laugh at them. The reason they say that is because they're rattled, because their clubs are dead clubs. You know what I mean? It's not my problem that their club's a dead club. Yeah, I know. Obviously, my club's winning stuff because of the money, because of the owners. Obviously, you know what I mean. But there's a lot more to the game than just money. But why we're here? Because we've got this owner, and see, people are just rattled. You know what I mean? Like, listen, if someone else wants to buy this guy, you put up the money. If you think Savio's that good, yeah, because this is what the people will do. People will say, "Oh, Savio's not even that good." Well, why are you moaning about it then?
Yeah.
Why are you moaning about it then? If he's that good, why don't your club bid for him then? If you think he's that good, bid for him. Apparently, teams have bid 25 million quid for him. 25 million quid in today's age, according to Ducker at the Telegraph. He said bids from Savio from other Premier League and Bundesliga clubs have been in the region of 25 million quid. So why are people moaning? Are you that scared? Are you that scared of a 25 million pound signing? You want him? You go and sign him then. You go put 30 million and you go and sign him. Sure, they'll accept the cash.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. And I say again, when people have got really rattled about Man City being in the position that they're in, I don't understand why Man City fans don't take more of that attitude of just like, yeah, I know it's brilliant, isn't it? Look how rattled you are. Look how much we're winning. But they're not. Some of them are so like, oh my God, like, I can't believe you're disrespecting us. You think we would still be here without the money, by the way? We wouldn't still be in League Two. We'd be, and I'm like, look, let's just leave it. Yeah,
that's a little far.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Don't go that far. I'm gonna make a weird one here. Not a weird statement. It shouldn't be, but it might be. None of the current top six clubs with if they took all their money away, we wouldn't be the top six clubs. Part of the reason we're there is the money. But the money is definitely needed. See, don't do that. There's a comment here though, and this is what I mean. Talk about Chelsea's investigations. Keep the same energy. Did a whole piece on that on Saturday. Go watch it. Watch more of my before you start having a pop at what I have and have not said. Go watch more of my content, and you'll see. It feels like you only turn up when City are in the title. Therefore, you don't see what I say about other clubs. I've done a number of videos on Chelsea's situation, potential points being docked, and everything. Both clubs have the same owners. No, is that legit?
Well,
yes.
But yeah, we were owned by the same group. But that's the attractiveness of the model. And at the end of the day, right, FFP regulations have come in to curtail spending. That's what they want to do. They want to bring spending down. So City are using their group, they're using their network to get players into other clubs, access this scouting from all over the world, and then pick up the best talent from our own clubs cheaper than maybe what we could get them and easier than. No, what do you want us to do? I mean, you by the way, City are doing this now, and City are there. United are going to do this, like Terry already said. Nice, obviously in France, they'll probably add more clubs to it. Yeah. The other clubs will start doing this. Barcelona, the Real Madrid of this world, they're all going to start doing this because it's obviously the way to go. We have literally scouting networks everywhere. We have clubs every single part of the globe that we can pick up these young talents. And a lot of them we get for cheap. You look at Julian Alvarez that we picked up for 15 million quid. We could have got Enzo Fernandez, by the way. City had a deal agreed for Enzo Fernandez when he was at River Plate for 10 million quid. The only reason we didn't pull that trigger then and he went to Benfica is because City couldn't guarantee him the game time. We just signed this other Argentinian kid from Argentina, Echeverri. Very, very highly. I watched him the other day, actually, in the under-23s Olympic thing. He looks a very, very promising player. We have all these networks all over the globe. Other clubs should follow suit. Instead of moaning about it, get your clubs to do the same thing. They're all rich enough. They all have enough money to go and buy these football clubs. So, yeah, man, there ain't nothing wrong with it for me.
No, I agree. Viewers, give us your views. Give us your opinions. Kula here says, did JG really curse at Pep? I don't believe it. Who's JG?
Grealish. So there was some rumours flying around last night that apparently Grealish stormed out of training because of Pep told him he wasn't in the team, but he was on the bench. So you'd imagine it can't be that bad. I'm sure we'll hear some leaks this week about what's going on there. Not again. Don't.
Yeah, I mean, Grealish is done at City for me. I think he's been a relative flop for 100 million, and Doku's come in. You've now signed Savio. Phil Foden is clear of him in that position. I think he'll be sold in the summer personally, not because he's a bad player. I just think, look, when I say relative flop, because there's a lot worse flops out there than him, but the fact that you're signing so many players that can play in his position ahead of him within a couple of years of dropping £100 million on him tells me that Pep thinks I can get players that are as good as him at doing all the holding of the possession and keeping it wide and dragging players out of position, but I need players with more output, especially after losing Mahrez. It's so important to have that output for me, but I'm not surprised the stories.
I don't know. Yeah, listen, the Grealish one gets people. Even the City fans debate whether, like, a lot of City fans don't like Grealish. A lot of people do. Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, he's won 2 titles. He won a treble last year, which he was a big part of.
He was.
I don't know, and he works extremely hard off the ball. He's what lets him down really is his lack of goals and assists. But people say, well, he never really got goals or assists. Even at Villa, if you compare his goals and assists per 90 minutes at Villa compared to now, it's not too dissimilar. It's not like he's dropped off. But the question is, can you get more from another player like Savio, like Doku, without losing that defensive work that Grealish puts in? I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it's a big 6 months though for Grealish, man. I think he needs to put in some good performances.
I don't think he'll be seen as a bit of a flop. I think that's a little bit harsh because he's obviously what he's won and what
I agree.
But what I
call
will
him
say,
Luke Chadwick. He's like Luke Chadwick at Man United. He won the titles, but he weren't that important.
That's harsh.
He's better looking than him. Better looking than Luke Chadwick.
Oh, without a doubt. I'd love to look like Jack Grealish. I'm not even. He's stunning looking, man.
But I'll say this: I didn't feel like it was a signing. Jack Grealish has done exactly what I thought that he would do at City. I never thought he was going to be the top dog. I never thought he was going to come in and be like, everybody look at me, I'm the top dog like I was at Villa. I always thought he was going to come in and contribute, and that's exactly what he's done. I never saw Jack Grealish as a 15, 20 goal a season type player. I always saw him as a player that would contribute, and I think that's exactly what he's done. Maybe they'll move him on, but for me, £100 million, that's the mark that everyone's going to look back at and go, have we got £100 million worth out of Jack Grealish? And I never thought you were going to do that. It was always a mad amount of money, but that's football, man.
Yeah. That's why I say relative flop, because I think he's done some really good things. I've never bought into this notion that when he plays on the left, he's given completely different instructions from every other wide player, Foden or Mahrez on the other side, or Doku when he comes in and he's told not to try and score and not to try and assist. I've always felt that was bullshit, because the manager isn't going to go, right, we're going to change our system today because Foden's in there, but when Jack Grealish is in there, I don't want you scoring goals. It was too far-fetched, and I think he's been a good player for City, there's no doubt, and he's had some brilliant games and some brilliant moments, but I think when you invest £100 million, you're expecting everything you've got and much more from him. And I watched Phil Foden last night, and I just think to myself, maybe he wasn't quite ready a couple of years ago to step into that position, but he's the man. He's the absolute man. I think technically he's every bit as good as Jack Grealish. His ability to receive the ball on the half turn is maybe the best in the world at doing that. He can score goals. He's dangerous. He's consistent. I just think Phil Foden's his position should be on that left-hand side of your attack, in my view. I think he's absolutely phenomenal there. So, and it's not a dig at Grealish. Listen, I wouldn't mind Man United signing Jack Grealish. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think he's such a free. I think he's a bit of a free spirit, and I think being in a regimented system, as regimented as Pep systems are, I think maybe takes a little bit away from him, even though he's done some good things. So I think that look, if you guys sell him, you'll still get really big money for him. He's not a horrible player, but yeah, we'll see what happens. 100 million was his release clause. It's irrelevant. It still got paid, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's mad.
Yeah.
One thing I'll quickly say as well, in terms of Southgate, I know that we're not talking about England, but I mean Rice, Bellingham, Foden, and Harry Kane up top. Win that Euros, man, because I tell you what, if you go win it,
Mainu in the middle holding the ball, yeah, bang on.
Well, exactly, and Mainu, yeah. But listen, do you know what's mad? He'll probably go and do that, Gareth Southgate, or play Calvin Phillips or something, or Conor Gallagher in there, or Mason Mount. You know what I mean? But listen, the amount of players he's got, I mean, we're not even talking about Maddison. You talk about Grealish not being there. He's going to be part of that. Rashford's going to be part of that. Saka. Mate, come on, man. This England.
Yeah, but you can't trust this manager, mate. That's the problem with him.
Listen,
he'll probably fucking drop Henderson as captain or something. You know what I mean? Like the guy's just an idiot. I think he should. I think the guy's a clown. Yeah, he's got to find a way, like you said, of getting Bellingham, Foden, and Rice in that midfield. Because if he does that, wow, that midfield should win you. Well, it should at least take you to the final. You know, you get France.
We've got so much talent. We should be doing a lot better, especially with the rest of the world not being particularly great right now. You know, and I know it's the Euros and not the Italy aren't much. I know they won it sort of 4 years ago, but they're not much to write home about. Literally, the only country where I look at it and go scary at times is France. Genuinely, they're the only country I look at and go, oh, that'd be a really hard game. Everybody else, I look at it and think, if the manager picks the right team and tactics, we've got. I'm not saying we'll smash everyone, but we've got a very good chance of beating them. We've got talent for days everywhere across the football pitch, and we're experienced now as well. So, yeah, but I would be putting Mainu in the next squad, by the way, just to give him a competitive game because Ghana are coming for him. So it's just to make sure he can't be had. That's my view. Like you got to do this with talented players, but we'll see. We will see. There's a comment here that says, "Where else can Grealish go?"
I think a lot of clubs would take him. I mean, I wouldn't sell him. I'd keep him around. Just to be clear, I don't want to get rid of him. But if he did leave, I think you get a lot of teams in for him. I mean, he's a very, very good player. You know, maybe in a team where he doesn't have as much, maybe, you know, I don't know.
He gets Would he go Newcastle, Would he go Newcastle?
I don't see why not. But they've got Anthony Gordon. They don't really need him, you know.
Because I was looking at the sort of teams that you would sell him to. I don't think you'd be selling him to Arsenal, Liverpool. You're not going to sell him to United. Spurs, maybe.
Oh, Pep said he'd sell players to anyone.
Yeah,
Pep said you're a small club if you don't sell players to your rivals. If the player wants to go and the team is willing to pay it, he says you're a small club. Because he was asked about
that when Arsene Wenger was selling Alexis Sanchez to Man United and Robin van Persie to Man United. Was it? It weren't a big club then. We weren't a big club then.
You're a big club. That was the one. That's a one little bit of positive you can take from selling all your
Pep
players.
Says we're still a big club.
You're a massive.
Yeah, you didn't win any for 15 years. You didn't win a league title, but you sold all your best players. You're massive.
Yeah, massive. Makes sense that.
Yeah, great logic. I love it. Viewers, let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel.